One day.
Hi, I'm Rob, Mid-Atlantic District VP for CSLT. Thank you for stopping in for this session of Leadership Academy 2021. We hope you enjoy the great content here, so let's get started.
As Rob pointed out, I do want this interactive. This is not going to be Mr. Professor telling you what to do and how to do it. That's not today. 2.5 hours isn't nearly enough time to take you from zero to hero in the marketing world, much less I'm not a professor of marketing. I work in the world of insurance and risk management as a lawyer, but I've learned how to market through some of these types of sessions, but you're going to be getting a lot of experience. My goal today is not to teach you how to do the brass tacks of marketing, but how to think marketing. What is it that we're marketing? How do we market? And we'll get into a little bit of the tools and tricks, things that we'll use to do marketing, but really now switching the pivot from the typical, we're a barbershop chapter and we sing barbershop. Like, okay, that's what you do. Who are you? What is it? So my goal is to really engage a lot more into conversation on that side of things, get us thinking like marketing folks, and then start seeing success. You can learn different ways, different tools in doing actual physical marketing or the actual act of marketing itself. But I think it's more important that we kind of learn how to market. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. So just like you had with Rob, what you would love, probably what would be ideal. Let's go with PowerPoint slideshow. You still want to have the visuals of the screens. You have the screen share, and then if you can change your settings so you can still see the gallery view, that would be spectacular. One little note, if you raise your hand, if you use the reactions feature and raise your hand, you will actually pop up in the top left of our screen, so I'll know that you're asking a question. You can put it in the chat. I'll do my best to watch the chat as we're going along, but it's a little hard for me to do that. Simon, stop showing off your virtual backgrounds. It's pretty exceptional. But that's
it's about marketing, right?
It is. That's a little branding you have going on there. Pretty cool. So hopefully you see my PowerPoint. Do you see the lovely blue with concentric circles and things like that? Yes. Anyone? Cool. All right. Mike, I'll be looking at you as kind of like the go-to, my North Star here. Here's kind of what we're going to cover, and what I'm hoping is you're going to come out of this with things to do. You're going to be making notes as we go along, hopefully for some of the aha moments that you may have, or some things you're like, ooh, I want to do that. Here's something I can do, or something I can have somebody else help me with, which would be kind of cool. We're going to talk about what you think marketing is. It's like, wow, this is like very, very esoteric, soul searching. What is marketing? And what is branding? What is branding compared to marketing? Who are we marketing to? That's going to be, it could be a multi-answer. What are your marketing objectives, both short-term and long-term? They don't have to be the same. Marketing mediums, what are the things that we use to do this marketing reach? And marketing tools, the types of things that we're going to be actually using, and some tips on some of the things that I found to be tremendously effective in marketing my barbershop choruses. So again, if you have questions as we go along, raise your hand. I want to get into conversation. I will note that there's someone else with my last name here, and the last thing she wants to do is hear me talk for 2.5 hours. She's heard that. She's heard enough of that. So we want to get a lot of you speaking as well. And this is a great start, a good opportunity, throwing it out there. And I know some of you have done marketing things in the past. Anybody want to volunteer just in a couple words? What is marketing? What do you think it is? And I'm going to make notes with my clickety-clack keyboard.
Creating a compelling need for a product or service.
Wow. Creating a compelling need for a product or service. So I have a really noisy keyboard, and that way you know I'm actually working. pretty cool.
Sounds like
Awesome, Wes.
sounds
I
like a
that.
teletype from the
I know,
50s.
and it's like right next to the microphone. So instead of hearing the fan, you'll hear the clickety clack of the keyboard. Thank you, Santa Claus. All right, what else we got?
Is it
What's
so
some
much
other ideas for
creating
marketing?
compelling need, or is it playing off a need that you see? I mean, I don't know that we have to be creative, but there's so much out there that we just have to get a hold of.
All right.
If we can address it, we're the ones to address it.
Addressing a need?
Yeah.
For a product or service, okay. I mean, that's almost like sequential.
And how you would address the need, and you would be the best to address their need. Like, give reasons why you'd be the best to satisfy that need that they have.
Awesome. This is pretty cool. What else we got? Don't make me call on Kevin's cat. I'll do it.
Christian, I don't see this on the screen. You're not sharing your window, right?
I could.
You're just taking notes, right?
Yeah, I could share my other window.
Yeah, I was thinking that might be good.
It's not going to be pretty like the cool one that we had. All right, so let me jazz this one up. I was making.
Yeah, that way we can use it to prompt us to not repeat answers.
All right, what else we got? So those were very kind of heady, just very simply, what is marketing?
Can I give an answer?
I guess.
It's also about marketing. About communication. Communicating your story in a compelling way.
Okay, cool.
How about bringing awareness to your community of your existence?
All right, like that.
I always think of marketing as about having to do with value, whether it's creating value, delivering value, communicating value. And those are the terms I think helpful to talk about marketing.
I like that value is so changing the context of product or service to value essentially is what I'm hearing there. That's kind of cool. Anything else? Anything even like more basic and simple? Like, hey, I went to work today and I did marketing. What did I do?
Well, you communicated.
True.
You planned.
So usually when I tell this class, like one of the first answers I get is like, make a brochure. Create an ad.
Would that it be that simple?
Make a commercial. So I know what I got on my hands here today is we've got big thinkers, very cerebral. But these are all good. And when we think about it in our barbershop world and the various things that we do and the various things that there may be marketing for, and we'll get into those in more detail, all of this comes into play, or it should come into play. And I'll question whether or not if I went to look at the marketing avenues that a lot of the chapters here represented are having, you know, what you use on your website or social media, what have you, how much of that are we seeing in that? And how much of it is just the simple, we're just telling the world who we are. I mean, that's what it is, just at the most basic, is just broadcasting to the world that we exist. That, for a lot of chapters, is kind of where it starts and ends. And I think we're all better than that. And I know just based on what y'all just shared. So I'll keep running some notes there. Let me do a different share. Let's go back to our PowerPoint. By the way, Tracy, you're allowed to contribute too.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my other computer hooked up so I can actually take notes on my iPad.
So she's down at the shore and left me home alone to hang out with all you fine people.
I did. For him to cook for himself, yes.
Yeah, it's not pretty. Thank you, Costco ready-made meals. Anyway, so here's just something I stole off the internet. A lot of my best marketing comes from theft, from plagiarism, from catching inspiration from others. So the simple is marketing is the management process involved in identifying, anticipating, and satisfying customer wants profitably. So I heard quite a bit, not quite stated that way, but I think you all kind of hit that on the head. I think you really captured that. I like this next one. Marketing is not just selling, it's about knowing and understanding your customer. And I heard that a little bit from you all. Creating, delivering, communicating value, I think, goes into there. And then Peter Drucker, the famous Drucker. The aim of marketing is to make selling superfluous. The aim is to know and understand the customer so well that the product or service sells itself. What? Barbershop? Yeah. And I think we have some examples in our coral ecosystem world that kind of get to that. And we'll throw some brands out there that you probably know, and we'll share that. All right, so that is what is marketing. Now let's switch over, and I'm going to make notes here. What is branding? I can't wait to hear what y'all come up with on this one. So we're going to switch back to our notes. So think for a moment. Branding. And I'm sure you immediately, like the second I said that, I'm guessing you had images or thoughts kind of pop into your mind of some of the best and brightest that we have out there in branding. Can someone give me some examples of or some thoughts on what is branding?
One idea is to repeat that marketing in such a way that the association of an image with whatever you've got as your logo could even be the first. They know who you are by recognition. Increase your recognition.
It's making yourself distinctive.
Okay. Cool. We can go simple, we can go deep. Michael's got a lot of good stuff to say, and he is our first mute captain. There we go.
It's I guess, well, it's just so, I just had a thought just popped in and out. Yeah, the fact of making it instantly recognizable, and making your brand almost synonymous with the object itself. I'm thinking like
Coca-Cola.
I'll have a soda, I'll have a Coke.
Right. Xerox.
Yeah.
Kleenex.
There we go. Bingo. You got it.
I mean, how many people, when I said the word branding, thought of Coca-Cola? I did. Like, the first thing that went in my head was Coke.
Yeah, well, you know, what I thought of was Norman Rockwell's famous barbershop painting. I mean, we're already branded, whether we like it or not.
That's right. That's right.
This is very true. This is absolutely true.
That's hanging up right in the hall, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, but if you think of some of the best consumer brands that are out there, I mean, Coca-Cola, if you've ever had a chance to go to Atlanta and go to Coca-Cola World, you're fully immersed in it. And then it kind of like smacks you. Like, when I think of Coca-Cola, I think of childhood. I think of, I mean, it's what's physically in that bottle is the same as RC Cola or A-Treat Cola, for those who know A-Treat. And Rob's like, yes, remember A-Treat? It's the same concoction, just kind of mixed up differently, but their branding is just so good that now when a lot of us go to a restaurant, we'll order a Coke and the person will bring us another brand, thinking we just meant the same thing. It's synonymous for a beverage that is made out of corn syrup, carbonation, and some kind of sweetener. Kind of funny. Simon's, yes, our four guys in striped suits wearing straw hats. That is, I'm looking at the screen and I'm like, that's everybody here. I'm surprised you didn't wear your boaters. And Wes has it at the ready in Florida. I'm glad that. I think many of us probably do.
Not everybody.
Oh, yours is here, Chase. I got yours, Tracy.
It's kind of funny that I think we often, at least I find that in our chapter, we're often fighting a brand, a popular perception of what our barbershop is. And it's more about, it's very difficult to come up with a brand which is goes contrary to what really people do think of when they think of barbershop.
Yeah, hands down, and I'll show you that proofs in the pudding in a moment. So again, another one I stole. It's a little blotchy, but brand, the unique identifying essence of your business or your organization. Noun, branding, the process of optimizing the associations, feelings, and impressions that your intended target audience experiences as a result of interacting with your brand. So for me, when I look at my choruses, when I look at quartets and the like, branding's a big deal for me. And seeing how it can permeate through all the various things that we do. And I think there are some other examples in our world that we can have with that. So I love that definition there. I thought that was pretty solid. The difference between branding and marketing, I think you all kind of you're going to use that brand in your marketing, but is all branding just left within the marketing world? And let's think about chorus life, chapter life. Where does your brand live? Now I'm getting really cerebral. Could your brand be in your guest book? Could your brand be on your hat? Could your brand be on your website? Could your brand be in your announcement that you have a new director or you've got new members? Where does your brand live? Is it just in the marketing that you're doing? Could the brand live in your installation ceremony? And things like that. So I would argue yes to all of that. I actually associate branding a little bit as derivative of culture, or the two are kind of connected together, or they should be connected together. I think a lot in what we do, both in our performances, in our life, in our choruses, in our recruiting efforts, that culture and that brand should be coming through in how we're communicating with people to say, hey, here's who we are, here's what we're about. So that's where, now you guys kind of jumped to it, said, is there branding in barbershop? Now if we click that, so now let's go there. So I just did barbershop quartet, and is my Google search coming up? Like, how far do we have to go to not see boaters? This is images under barbershop quartet. Even Signature, those poor souls, like Signature, really? They're coming up number 4. Their 4th image is our gold medalist, our 2-year reigning gold medal champs in boaters and striped vests. So we're going on down. I have to get the folks from the Navy before I lose the boater hats, and probably only because they had to be in uniform for that event. Here's another row. Is that the so we're getting up? There's another one.
Got Darby's.
There we go.
Got there.
There we
There
are.
we go. Not until we get. I mean, even the ladies are wearing. Those are more top hats, but the ladies have hats on. So it's not until we get down to some folks from Northeastern District. I recognize a couple of those gents. And now we sort of start breaking out. All right, now we're starting to get. We got some Sweet Adelines. We got some guys in more contemporary. And there's like ringmasters, and that's the old version of. There's the real Signature we have down there. How far down do we have to go to break the stereotype?
So, but my question is, okay, everybody uses Google. I mean, it's pervasive, and somehow the Google algorithm has decided that this is what we are.
Well, let's see. So I'm glad you said that. So that was when I went to images. So that's the visual brand of barbershop quartet. That's kind of how it comes across. When I just go back to all hits, what's number 1? Main Street. So, are they perpetuating the stereotype? A little bit, but they're doing it in a unique way.
And then on the right hand side, isn't that the Dapper Dans in like Disney World?
That is absolutely the Dapper Dans.
How much do you think they paid for that?
Yeah, well, it could just be a matter of how many hits that they get, because which quartet gets the most views live and in person? Probably them. So what's good is when you see the videos, we've got Main Street, we've got Old School, so they're taking that classic barbershop sound, but in a more contemporary look, at least, that you have there. So we got some videos there, which are not, you don't see Buffalo Bills coming up #1. So we're doing that. And then we got Wikipedia, barbershop music, barbershop quartet singing, so a lot of just factual stuff. Barbershop.org was 4th, 5th, so pretty far down. I would love for barbershop.org to be #1, but I'm not in charge of marketing for the VHS. So I agree that with your statements of, do we have a bias or preconceived notion out there in the public sphere for people who don't? I mean, I'm knowing all of you folks and seeing you on stage very rarely. Have I seen you in the quintessential barbershop outfit doing that? So I think our brand has to come across different. I am not suggesting we step away from barbershop. I'm very proud of what we do, how we do it, who we are. But when I ask each of you to describe your barbershop lives, I don't think I'm going to get what those pictures are giving me. There's so much more to it. There's so much depth to what we do as performers, as people, as groups, and we're seeing that. I see it a lot more in this pandemic, probably more so than any other time. So let's go back to our screen. So kind of a cool chat. What was that? Oh, that's just me. We're getting an echo. All right, Michael, thank you. Yep, we found it. Thanks. So let's talk about branding in our barbershop world. So if I say, and you're going to probably know a lot of these folks, this is kind of more to the visual, but it really kind of hit me. If I say, for those of you that have been, in this barbershop world for any measure of time, if I say Westminster Chorus to you, what do you think of?
Energy. A lot of energy.
Youth.
Youth.
Perfection.
What about vocal majority?
Huge.
Jim Clancy.
I think bass sound. Like, I think that it's just this subwoofer that comes across as Ambassadors of Harmony, if I put that out there.
First class.
Jim Henry.
So a lot of, like, you're noticing, like, this does almost like Coca-Cola. When I'm calling some of these names out, you immediately have an association to some of the things. And I'm not just doing it just because they're gold medals, but because they're so well known. How about in Kevin? You can't answer this one. Parkside Harmony.
Oh, innovation. Sean Devine.
What else do you think about when you think of Parkside?
New.
A joyous performance.
Mm-hmm. I think moving performances for me, very much. But then also, if you go beyond just on stage, if you know some of the folks, there's a community there. There's a close-knit community. So I think of that. I think of kind of that feeling that I can only imagine they all have when they get together, or when we used to get together. Alexandria Harmonizers. If I say Alexandria, what do y'all think?
Just Rudy.
So I think of like wow performances. Like, I mean, they just do some crazy performances. I think Outreach. When I think of them and I think of the things that they've done in the last couple of years, I start thinking Outreach and the things that they do. But let's not limit it to choruses. If we go to the right, Vocal Spectrum. Anybody know those? Anybody hear that brand? Would you agree that they have a brand? I think so. What do you think? So when I say Vocal Spectrum, what do you think?
I mean,
what
work.
immediately comes to mind? Kevin? Sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
Is it Timmy Warwick, and all
Yeah.
the tracks that he's made?
Yeah.
Kind of legendary.
Mhm.
What about Midtown? One of our newest superstar quartets, new on the scene. I think Spider-Man. If you have not seen their Spider-Man video, it's
Awesome.
exceptional. They have absolutely hit on brand. They've actually taught classes on brand. As a quartet, they are building their brand. They are very different from your average quartet. Give me four. Tracy, what do you think of when you think of Gimme Four?
I just love those guys. I don't know. I mean, just the way they're so personable and fun to watch.
Genuine, real.
Yeah.
Sincere.
Anytime I see them, it's usually, only for about 5 minutes. And if I can't get 5, they give me 4.
Oh, geez, really, Rob? Somebody control that mute.
Hey, that's their brand. Their brand is 4.
Actually, it is pretty good. They've played
Put up all.
that one up. So then, kind of in the middle, does anybody recognize the that blue musical thingy that we have there?
It's Gotham.
Voices of Gotham.
Yep, Voices of Gotham. So those of us in the Northern Division know it really, really, really well. They've been very strong on brand. So that's the 7th. Live in the 7th is their kind of mantra. Somerset Hills Harmony is my upstart chapter that Tracy and I are with. We have been branding the daylights in the last year or two. So if you haven't heard much from us, then shame on me. But you will hear more of us in the future. Rittenhouse Sound. Look at the visuals that Rittenhouse Sound has laid out there.
Mhm.
Pretty impressive. So I mean, I can, from a branding perspective, out of all of these ones, I mean, Alexandria's got pretty good visuals with the barber pole in there, their traditional logo. But out of all of these, Rittenhouse Sound, I'm learning a little bit about them just by looking at their logo. And we've got gold that's in there. I've got the colors of the rainbow, which probably means to me that they're about inclusion and they're about being a little bit more broad than the traditional view. No? Or they're just
That's not what doesn't suggest that. It looks like Roger Federer's logo, actually.
Wow.
It's
All right.
highly stylized, very nice.
So with a lot of these, what y'all kind of hit on was the brand. They immediately have some kind of relation to you where your mind, your heart kind of goes, yeah, I understand them. I know who they are. I know the impact that they've had on me. I know when they have a performance, what I'm going to expect. So we do see their brands kind of going beyond just their name and their website per se. But I think that if you go to their websites, and Parkside's a good example of this, when you go to Vocal Majority, you learn more about them and who they are and what they're about. Alexandria has a great website. One that I would really recommend, Northwest Sound, I'm just such a fan of. Well, let's talk about branding itself. Let's talk about the actual. Now we kind of have a warm fuzzy feeling about marketing, a warm fuzzy feeling about branding. And what I heard from you all was a little bit more than just a logo. It's that connection that you have. More than visuals. How do you get your brand into your messaging? Does anybody have any suggestions? And I'll offer some examples of where I see that. I kind of alluded to some of it a little bit earlier.
Establishing a mission statement with a course identity.
Yes, I love that. And where would that be helpful? So not just on the website, but who? Oh, I should say, who? When we're talking about branding, who are we using that to identify with?
Guests, potential members, that sort of thing.
Yep. So both internal and external. People in the community that might partner with you. Organizations that are giving grants, possible donors. So there's lots of audiences that you could be targeting that to, I think. That was great. I like that one. Where else are we going to see it?
Branding is going to be important in terms of even attracting new members, people who don't know about us. I mean, I came back into this after many years, actually having met Wes,
Yeah.
and I took a look at the various websites, and the branding of them was something that attracted me to come back and give it a try.
So if you were to look at a website and it said upcoming events and it shows something from 2016, would you argue that's brand?
No.
It's not a very good brand.
It's not a good reflection of your brand. So when we're looking at the content of that presence, it should be reflective of who you are and what you're about. So if that's the brand that I'm perceiving is, wow, they really don't do much. They're not very well run. They don't really care about themselves that much. Like, I might have all of these perceptions. Now, when I show up at a rehearsal, I'm sure my experience is going to be a lot different. But you really want that external face to match what you have going on within your group. These are really good.
Well, it sends a message. Do I really want to hire these guys if they're that sloppy? I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm with,
do I want to partake in them if they are they're not serious?
That's right.
Yeah, you submitted a grant request and it goes in, and what's the first thing anyone's probably going to do when they hear the name of your group and they're intrigued? They're going to go to your website. So, okay, we put in a request for a $3,000 grant for such and such and the other thing, and we go to your website and it's not very crisp. Probably not very good. So let me share. I'm just going to share one website that I'm enamored with everything that these folks do. This is Northwest Sound up in Seattle. They actually just partnered with Alexandria to do a holiday show, which was really entertaining and fun. So I just go to their website, and let's just think branding. The first thing you're captured with is the visuals, right? I mean, what do you see there?
They're wearing rainbow colors.
Yeah, very visual, very bright. They're kind of like tightly packed in, but it's a good size bunch of folks. It is a men's barbershop chorus, hands down. But look at that little tagline right under the picture: passion, excellence, friendship, music. Join us. Wow, there's a lot to think about right there. We are a chorus of devoted and energetic musicians who compete, put on shows, and perform out in our community. We welcome people of good character who have a love for a cappella harmonies and have a strong personal drive to deliver grade A music. Is that branding? Is that culture? I think they're kind of one of the same here. Come see about the music. So I'm getting all kinds of visuals. So if you're a data wonk, if you like numbers, we got some numbers there.
Do you guys, do you see that right at the very top? It's interesting about branding, right? They have two logos which are different. It's almost like they're creating two different identities. One is a men's barbershop chorus, and the other one is a cappella men's chorus. I don't know if anyone else does that, finds that happens a lot, but it certainly does in our chorus when we think about how we want to present ourselves to the outside world.
That's a great observation. So one of the things so somebody mentioned the Google searches earlier. So as you're doing your marketing, you're putting together materials on your website, you want to drop as many buzzwords as you can. So using a cappella, using men's, using barbershop, using singing, all of these are going to help when someone searches in Google men's chorus. It's going to come up. A cappella chorus. It's going to come up. Barbershop. It's going to come up. So that could be where they're going with it. It could just be a matter of that's their identity. We'll talk about Somerset Hills a little bit. Our identity is not as a barbershop chorus. We are an a cappella chorus that sings barbershop. That's a little bit different. But then Rusty and I sing with Hunterdon. We are a men's barbershop chorus. That is what we sing. And we're true to that. and we're okay with that, which is cool. I love that. So if you go through there, About Us, and if we think about branding, if we think about audiences that we're trying to get out and to reach, and I'm not going to go through all of their things, but they have done such a good job developing their website. I think it really is a good example that we can use. So if we go to our vision and mission, so as Joel has suggested, we should have a really good statement. So we've got that same picture, but now we don't have the logo clogging it up. So a very simple statement of their mission, of their vision, and then their culture. They have a culture statement. Now, we've seen mission statements and vision statements. A lot of our websites are probably going to have that, which is great. They also have a culture mission or statement that they have there that is based on 8 pillars that they have. So let's just read their vision is to be recognized as one of the premier choral organizations in the Pacific Northwest. So that's what they do, right? That's what they do. We sing great, and we're in the Pacific Northwest. Their mission, a little different, to impact lives and build community through artistic and emotionally driven a cappella performances for diverse audiences. I thought that was pretty sweet. That's pretty good. So a completely different take between their mission and their vision. Would you agree? Or their vision just seems a little bit more simple. We're going to be viewed externally as being awesome, but our mission is to really impact people, which is cool. I want to look at their culture, and then we're going to start getting into a little bit more knee-deep into marketing things. One thing I don't like is that picture keeps, visually for me, maybe it's my browser, but that picture is so big, it's really taking up a lot of my attention, and I'm going to have to scroll down to get to the good stuff. This is good stuff. So if I am somebody who's in the area and looking potentially for a place to go sing, they have done an amazing job of writing out who they are and what they're about, especially with that audience of possible singers. I'm just going to pick one example just at random. Let's pick a culture of respect. We work diligently developing a culture of respect within Northwest Sound. During rehearsal time, we pay strict attention to those leading the activities to maximize our efforts and enjoyment of the ensemble time. We care sincerely for our brothers in our chapter. So now I know it's not everyone in harmony, open membership, and in those chapters around us. So they're actually looking outside of just their own group. We respect other choruses and work to earn their respect. So that's kind of a hallmark of who they are and what they're about. So when I walk into their rehearsal with the thought of, hey, is this something I want to be a part of? I've read all this in advance, right? I mean, how many of you, if you thought about going to a chapter because you have moved, I mean, there are a couple folks that are down in Florida now, what's one of the first things you do when you're thinking about singing with a group?
Go listen to them.
Yeah. For me, I'm going to go to their website. I'm going to read through these things and see, do I identify with what they're saying? Is that a match for me? One example I think they may have in here, but I've seen it with other chapters. We sing without sheet music and accompaniment. So if I walk in and I see everybody holding sheet music and there's a piano sitting there, I'm going, wait, am I at the right place? Is this the right chorus? So we want to make sure that we're representing what that product is that we have there. So kind of any other thoughts on branding? I do want to share selfishly Somerset Hills as well. Go ahead.
I have not seen many websites with that kind of mission statement or any extended mission statement. I've seen most of them fairly simplistic comments about how we all get together to sing, a few kind words. I mean, you see this more often than in quite a few chapters, or does this stand out?
That one for me stood out. I've seen some good ones in the past, and I think we're getting there. I'll show you what we created for Somerset Hills. So just by way of background, because you'll probably hear about us a little bit. Rusty's very familiar with us. Tracy's a member of Somerset Hills chapter. So this group back in early 2018 had 12 men. Had sustained, it was Jersey Harmony Express at the time. We had sustained between maybe 12 to 14 members for like 10 years. It was going well good singers, good dedication, good product, enjoyable, but was going nowhere. So we kind of came to a point where we were considering breaking off from the Barbershop Harmony Society because we wanted to go co-ed. We wanted to open our doors to other singers and not be restricted. Lo and behold, about 3 months later, Everyone in Harmony came about, and we seized upon that opportunity to then do what our heart had said we wanted to do. So we opened our doors and rebranded as now Somerset Hills Harmony, and it's gone quite well. We are now at a point where, Tracy, what's our count for the board meeting tomorrow night?
We have 59 members.
Yeah, we've done okay. So we've pretty much doubled every year. We've actually grown by at least 20 through the pandemic.
There's 50 that could show up, well, given 50 basically that could show up at our rehearsals at any given time.
So we've been doing the drive-in rehearsals, and Rob France has been a blessing, and we've been our partner in crime in the parking lot, and we go bonkers because we know we might have 30, 35 people show up, and we have to figure out how to get them all set up into that sound. I think a large part of our success has been that culture and brand has been central to who we are and what we do. So let me see, am I sharing, do you see our website? Let's make sure we have that one there. All right, so this is the Somerset Hills Harmony website. The first thing you'll notice is our name is Somerset Hills Harmony. What is that if you abbreviate it? It is shh, which is probably the worst thing you could say to a chorus. Stop singing. Totally unintentional, but we actually play that up. That has become part of who we are. We take ourselves and our music seriously, but not that seriously. We have fun. We enjoy the irony in who we are. So as you go to our website, you will see a scroll of pictures kind of going through. They are mostly current. I have to update to get the holiday stuff off there. But a lot of our people were moved back in the spring into the summer when things were breaking down in our country, and we had a statement that we put there. Here is a Christmas hymn project that we did. So we have our holiday stuff, we have our stuff about our drive-in rehearsals, our Hot Rods and Harmony kind of flying through. So unlike Northwest Sound where it was just one picture, we had things kind of cycling through. If you go to, so that question, so if I go to sing with shh, which that should make you giggle, because that is a funny thing to say, sing with shh, and I go to Somerset Hills Harmony Membership FAQ. And we go to there, you're going to see a lot of similar things to Northwest Sound. Frequently asked questions about becoming a member, raising your voice with an incredible mixed voice a cappella chorus in New Jersey. So we've got a statement of who we are. This is a culture statement. This is a brand statement. Our brand permeates through every single thing on our website, everything that we have there. So you'll see in the statement there, what kind of music do we sing? What is the path to membership? A little bit more specific on the skills needed to be a member. So we have some musical things that we have in here. What the expectations are of members. How much does it cost? So a lot of the kind of things that you would probably want to know about joining the group. How often are rehearsals and things like that. We have an at-home component, so we actually have a new level of membership where we never have to see you. You can be a member by remote. We want to see you. We love to see you. So we have a lot of things on our website that kind of build towards that. So feel free to peruse shhchorus.org. But you'll also see it through latest news. So you will find our brand perpetuating. One of the things that we do is we are very, very giving. We are very much about the world in which we exist, the community in which we exist, and giving back. And you will see a lot of that. And this drive-in rehearsal thing that we're doing has availed us to do a lot of that. So, Michael.
Yeah, in today's world, pandemic world, there are some of us, like, for example, here, Wes and I are participating in our courses, his in Jersey and mine in Pennsylvania. And we have a guy in our course in, I'm also in Miami. We have a guy who's over in the west part of the west coast. My question is, you brought up the whole issue of remote memberships. And I guess I'm just wondering, because my concern is my concern is after the pandemic. Will I still be able to participate in all of my choruses, depending upon what part of the country I'm in? Because I'm members of three choruses. And is the idea of remote membership something we should be promoting in terms of our branding, in terms of, for example, we have a guy in Miami who had to move up to Sebring. Well, does he drive 3 hours, or does he become a remote member? And how do we keep up our membership in the organization when days when it's waning? Has this been thought about? Or is this,
I hope so. Some groups have. I know our group has, because we've become comfortable with this technology. And one of the benefits of us doing these drive-in rehearsals that is we've learned how to live stream, how to use Zoom locally. And so all of our rehearsals, still have Zoom rehearsals, we have live rehearsals in our cars, and through the help of Rob, we have a two-way Zoom. So every one of our rehearsals, we can hear the people online, so they can speak to us, but they can hear us, and we've got the camera trained on the director. So on any given Zoom, and Rusty experienced this for the first time earlier this month, and he gave some thumbs up to how that worked. So the idea was, if we have people who are traveling, if we have people who can't make it for medical reasons, whatever it may be, a competing priority, they can still participate remotely. Our goal, both Somerset Hills and Hunterdon, when we get back together indoors rehearsing, there will be a camera, there will be a computer. We will be live streaming that, so people from Florida, Singapore, wherever they may be, can still participate.
It just occurs to me that for 6 months I can't be in one chorus or I can't be in the other. And when I come back to that area, I may be practicing my music, but still it's quite a bit of catch up. And this would resolve it. Am I going off on the wrong track, or is this?
No. Hey, listen, this is your time. I think this is great. Because it gets to membership marketing is a big piece of what we need to talk about and address. And Somerset Hills, our goal is we are going to be more relaxed on our attendance requirements. We're going to be more relaxed on, more aggressive on how far we go out to market. We have people who are up. Simon, put on your earmuffs. We have people up in Westchester County who are now singing with us. We have people in South Jersey who are singing with us. We have people who are going to college in Indiana who are singing with us. And the goal is that they will continue to be able to sing with us when we're back together, because they can join in live or watch the recordings of the rehearsals. And then what we'll look to do is, as we get close to a performance, we will expect them to come to a certain number of rehearsals in person, so we can kind of get them blended into the sound together. But if they are being active online, they're right there with us. They're not just learning from a learning track, they're learning from the chorus singing under the direction of the director, the way that we want. So I think one of the benefits of the pandemic is it has forced us to learn this technology, and now we can continue to use it. And we plan on doing that. So I would just urge each one of you, as part of your leadership team, if this is something that is enticing, to pursue it, to absolutely pursue that. So the snowbirds that head down to Florida, we love you. We'll see you on the Zoom. We'll see you on the Zoom if you're so
Leadership team
inclined.
is not even, sorry.
Go ahead.
Part of our leadership team is not even in New Jersey. So we even have a leadership person that is in another state.
Yeah, our music VP is in San Antonio, Texas. Manny Lopez has agreed to be. Rusty's like, wait, what?
Hey, Christian, I do have a question for you here, because what you're describing sounds very close to what OC and Rupert were looking for when they founded our society. Maybe not quite what we've evolved to be. Just an interesting thought.
Elaborate. So their concept was, let's just get together on a rooftop and sing some barbershop. It wasn't about competition. It wasn't about performances. It was just about gathering.
Inclusion.
Yeah. Walter.
Christian, how have you gotten past the problems of Zoom meeting as far as singing together and making it sound like we're actually together?
You can't.
Is there a different platform that works better?
Not that I'm aware of. We've
There's
kicked the tires.
You tried Jamulus? That's
Yeah,
supposed to work.
A lot of folks are using Jamulus.
Mhm.
If you have if you have someone in your group who is willing to pick up the torch and help get people set up, and you're willing to make the investment in equipment, there are a couple of online options. There are pretty much 3 that I'm aware of, which is Jamulus is the most popular. Jack Trip is the new one, the new kid on the block, but they charge a subscription to use it. Jamulus is open source, and the other one is Sonobus, Sonobus, which is Jamulus-like, but apparently has less of a technical or equipment burden that's out there. But there have been many groups that are using Jamulus. I plan on starting to play with that a little bit. I know absolutely for Hunterdon, and I think Rusty would attest, I can't imagine more than 3 or 4 of our guys having the technical savvy to be able to do it, to be honest. So for us, that's just not an option. Our drive-in rehearsals have been a miracle. They've been an absolute miracle. We have been able to now rehearse safely in person. We've had well over a dozen rehearsals. We've had performances. We've recorded. We've hosted other groups. So for us, the investment of time and money in getting together in a parking lot with microphones and an FM transmitter has allowed us to continue to rehearse. So now we have kind of morphed into, we have 1 week, we are singing together and full-on rehearsal in a parking lot. We are at a point now where it's rehearsal. It was lots of fun. Like the first couple of months, we're like, woo, we're singing, this is so cool. And now we're like, yeah, we're gonna work. So we're working. We're now working towards summer performances. And then now we use Zooms differently. We don't have a Zoom, the expectation of getting some singing satisfaction out of that time together. So we use that for deep dive, for sectionals to review certain things, for social time and fun time, for some administrative stuff, planning stuff. So we're using the Zoom a little differently. We learned just early on, trying to sing over Zoom was futile. It was just an absolute train wreck.
I got the impression that you had found a way to make that work, where we have not yet up here.
No one has. No one on the planet Earth has
Can't.
found
You
out a way
can't.
to use Zoom.
It's impossible.
The bandwidth is all messed up. You
Right.
can't do it.
You have latency.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah, but didn't you say before that Zoom and maybe it was another vehicle about having it 2 ways for the people who are remote, or is that something that's
Yes, but you will still have latency. You will have lag. So how we're using that? So Hunterdon, our assistant director, he was a young guy. He couldn't continue to pay the rent on his apartment up here in New Jersey, so he went to go live with his parents during the pandemic in Texas. So we have now figured out how he can, through Zoom, so he's on the Zoom just like you're seeing here. He can see the director, and now he's able to speak and contribute during the rehearsal as if he were standing next to Don Reckenbiel. It's flippin' amazing. It's
So
great.
if I can interject for a second from a technical standpoint, just not to get too long-winded about it, but so what we do is we have the whole chorus coming into a mixer, and we mix that to a stereo output, and that's what goes out to their headphones so that the chorus can hear. We also send that to the Zoom, so that goes out the Zoom, that's that microphone feed into the Zoom call, so that Matt can listen. He can hear actually the full mix of what we've got on our mixer. It's just going right out to him. And then actually when they're done singing, he'll speak, and then we bring that into the mixer and route that again out to their ears so that they can hear him, so that he can hear them and the blended mix, and then they can hear him give instructions. So it's not synchronous. He's not singing with the chorus from Zoom like in Texas. He's actually it's asynchronous, but he's able to hear the mix. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Kevin, you had something to add in there.
Right. I was just going to say that my chorus attempted a hybrid approach where we had a smaller group show up for an in-person rehearsal outside of our normal venue, so that we could maintain social distancing. And then we also had a significant contingent online on Zoom at the same time. And so what I did is I used my cell phone, and what's a special adapter that hooks into the bottom right here, to use an external USB microphone that picks up the sound better than the native microphone on my phone. And we managed to get that working reasonably well. And basically starting a Zoom call that everybody who was on the Zoom call would be able to see what was going on at the in-person rehearsal, and then they would basically mute and sing along with us at home. So that was working pretty well, at least up until it got cold.
Yeah, I learned that. So we had our first rehearsal this year out in the parking lot. And because I'm running a lot of the tech alongside with Rob, I was standing outside. I'm one of the only ones outside of their car singing. Got to a point where once those winds started kicking up, I'm like, yeah, I've been toughing it out, but it's cold. It's tough. I love that. I love that idea, because that way you could still have a core, even if it's section leader or something like that, a core singing safely and put that together. Very cool. So
there are more than 20 people in our chorus. So, basically the problem with having like a drive-in rehearsrsal is that the equipment requirements go up depending on the size of your chorus.
Sure. I mean, we're over 30 to 32 that come to our rehearsals now.
Somerset Hills.
Rusty.
Okay, yeah, I'm on two different Zoom groups. The Harmonizers, of course, is one, but a second one I'm on is a guitar group. Where we meet on Zoom every Friday. We have the same Zoom limitations everybody does, but the way we get around it for getting some sort of personal satisfaction is that we will have everybody on mute, as we do on our own Zooms. But what will happen is everybody tones down their stuff so they can hear the person who is leading the particular song and play along. Now, most of us can tell when we got something right, when we got something wrong, when we could have done something better. And I think when we do this on our own barbershop Zoom things, and you're singing, you know it didn't quite work. No, but you're not disrupting the rest of the group. What is really good about the Zoom, about the participation at the drive-in, is the fact that you've got Matt and Don listening to this. And they will come back and they'll say, basses, you didn't quite make those two notes, or you might have been a little late here, or other stuff. Now, it still depends on us to identify with the problem that we might have had, but at least we've gotten feedback on how we did in that particular performance. Then you go back to the Zoom, you get a chance to try and refine it. It's a cycle, it's a learning cycle. And the two of them together, neither is perfect, but together they make progress.
Right. So let's save, we could have a whole nother session talking about drive-ins. Bill, I know the Virginians have started doing this as well. Kudos to the folks down in Richmond for getting out there. You guys have the luxury of maybe a little bit warmer weather than we do when you get out there. But if you want to talk about this as an option, Rob and I are fantastic people to talk to. We've been doing this for a bit, and we've seen what a lot of other groups are doing as well. What I would urge is, if the financial angle for you is troubling, there may be ways around it. There's an amazing woman who you see on the screen who has been able to pilfer free stuff from a lot of people, where I think we're going to be expecting shortly a shipment from Germany of, I don't know, what, 20, a very, very lucrative shipment from Germany with a lot of sound equipment that we're paying nothing for.
Hey, Christian, can I ask a more general question about marketing?
Yes.
not about singing in cars. We've looked at that as a chorus, and it's not really for us right now. But
Yep.
I'm very interested. Obviously, given the pandemic, necessity is the mother of invention. I'm really interested in what other chapters are doing to raise their game around digital marketing.
Yep.
And you obviously talked about websites and what they need to look like to attract members. But anything else on the overall topic of digital marketing? For example, we just had our own virtual show.
Yep.
I think a lot of chapters did. Frankly, our virtual show was more successful than our last real live show, both in terms of views and in terms of financial contribution.
Wow.
And so I'm really interested in what people are doing around digital marketing to kind of raise their game.
Yeah, no, I got like 20 emails from Bill Cruz. Like, come check out our show.
Yeah.
If you can be patient, and now I like that you're like, let's get back to marketing, which is good. I will show you a little bit about what we're doing. What I can tell you in the next board meeting I have with Somerset Hills, where I am the marketing VP, I'm going to be imploring to my leadership team, give me things to talk about. Even during a pandemic, give me things to talk about. We've been very fortunate because we've been very active through the pandemic. We have lots to talk about. We've had lots to talk about. So coming up with things, even if it's an installation, even if it's a new member, a new director, like have something to talk about. And that will give me opportunities to get impressions out there. Marketing is very much about impressions. How many times is your brand getting in front of someone's face or their ears or whatever, in their mouth, whatever it may be? We need to get lots of impressions. So I am kind of like, I push and look for these things, and we've found a lot. I did for Somerset Hills, we did a virtual course towards the end of the year for Auld Lang Syne. I turned that into a retrospective. Here's what our 2020 was.
Cool.
Push that out.
Yeah.
So just trying to find content.
Another thing that we found, for example, is we used to rely on flyers a lot to promote our shows, right? And I think there's a whole like science around putting together great flyers and where you put them up. And obviously we can't do that anymore. What we've discovered is making short 30-second teaser videos that promote an activity are incredibly powerful.
Yep.
And that's just one example of being forced to learn about digital marketing and doing it better.
I'm right there with you, because we've been forced to do that too. We can't do in-person marketing. We've got to look more to where are people looking, and let's get there. So let's go through. Let's finish up kind of the branding chat. We'll take a little bit of break, and then we'll start talking about more of the tangential stuff that we've got. So finishing up kind of that branding conversation, messaging is huge. That's why it's in all caps. Your message is a big deal. Look at your website. Look at the when we go on Facebook, your description of your group on Facebook. We are a chorus of 25 dudes who sing barbershop. Okay, you have an opportunity there to really get your brand to come through. We are a group of singers who impact lives through singing. Well, that sounds a little bit more compelling. That's kind of cool. Tell me more. You have a nanosecond to capture your audience. In the world of social media, so getting to what we were just kind of talking about with online marketing, you have got to get someone's attention immediately. You don't have time. It's not like you've got a 3.5-minute commercial block where someone's just going to be sitting there watching. You've got to be really creative to get their attention. To shop or not to shop? That is the question. We alluded to that earlier. You saw from Northwest Sound, they like both. But in your messaging, how much of barbershop makes up your brand? For some groups, a lot. For some groups, not quite so much. So think about how much you want that to be driving your brand. And are you going to be able to get over that bias and that history of what people associate barbershop singing to be? I'd like you to think about, what are the roadblocks to someone not embracing your message? I gave you one example earlier. I go to your website and see the most upcoming events are in 2017. What are some other things that might... So if I'm watching a performance, and you've all been in this performance, you have one person who's not along with the rest of the chorus. Everybody's smiling and one person's sad. everybody's sad and one person's smiling. A lot of us call those elbows in our performance, something that just kind of like takes the audience out of it. Think about it from a marketing perspective. What are some things that can take it out for you, take you out of kind of that messaging? How about typos?
Distractions.
Yeah, to me, yeah. How about like a ton of content? Like a ton of content in an itty bitty space. Like it's overwhelming. There's too much. I have a problem with that because I love to pack 10 pounds of goodness in a 5-pound bag. So I struggle personally with that one. Text, having too much text or not enough text to really describe what you're doing. So think about when you are presenting things in your brand, in your marketing, are there roadblocks to people actually getting your message and eliminating them? What assumptions or biases are out there that you have to deal with? Can you get it out in front of it?
Don't you also have to decide, depending upon where you're putting it, what your actual message is? I mean,
Yeah.
to me that my message may be to increase membership, but I'm going to the wrong population when really that population would be people or the ones who come to my performances or may contribute.
Yep. So one of the things that we did, so leading up to, we had an open sing. So in the cars, we invited people, anyone that wanted to could pull in and enjoy an open singing event with us in New Jersey. And between Tracy and I, what we did was for, I think, 7 days leading up to it, each day we had a different post that we put out on social media. Each one of those 7 had a different message and a different targeted audience that we wanted to get to. And I'll show you a few of those a little bit later when we talk about the tools that we can use. So Michael, what I would ask you to do is think about, what is it that we're marketing? Is it a show? Is it our brand in general? Who we are and what we're about? Is it a recruiting event? Is it ongoing recruiting? And who's our audience that we want to get to? For some groups, it's singers. So some groups, like, we don't want to train someone. You take 100 in, we're happy to, as long as they can match pitch and hold a note and not distract the audience from the sound, we can turn them into barbershop singers. We're okay with that. So that audience is going to be a little bit different. Do you want young folks? Do you want people that just have spare time? Messaging is huge. I can't spend a ton of time on actually how we get that messaging done, but you really just need to think about, is that message matching up with the audience and the product that you're offering? And then the last thing I have here is, who's your competition? Let's talk membership for 30 seconds. When you're talking membership, who's your competition? Recruiting. It should be quick. Steve.
Other singing groups, not necessarily barbershop singing groups.
Yep, other choruses or other singing opportunities.
Well, your competition is people's time.
Yep.
I mean, you want to devote all this time and energy to this thing, you've got to be able to.
John, as people are often reluctant to change and join new groups with people that they don't know, or the music itself might be really difficult it might seem difficult to learn so much music in order to, when you're first coming on. It seems like a lot of work.
Fantastic. What else you got? How about money?
Money, yeah.
Money, time, distance, flexibility, commitment. Like, hi, come this Tuesday and you can join us for the rest of your life. Sound good? We're fun. Like, what do you talk? No, what? Like, yeah, that's kind of how we do things. So where you're going is, when you are looking at your marketing, if you are looking at doing it for recruiting, how can you address these things? Because the reality is, they're probably not as bad as people think. And it could be, if I'm thinking like Parkside is a great example, there's a certain standard that I'm going to have to meet to participate in Parkside Harmony. And I know that because they've been very good about saying that. And it's not rude. It's not impolite. It's like, this is who they are. This is what is expected. So I'm very happy that they've been able to express that. Go ahead, Michael.
But when you've got issues like time, commitment, money, and you talk about marketing, is your message inclusion or exclusion? Or is it narrowing it down? As you just brought the case of Parkside.
Mm-hmm.
The guy off the street who can't read music may not be somebody who's a candidate for Parkside. And you don't want to waste Parkside's time or his time.
Well, for the record, that's not really true. We actually have several members who do not read music.
Right.
I guess, but my question, but I think you run into more case of people who just said, "Oh my gosh, this is too much commitment. They never told me it was going to be this much."
Fair enough.
And I think a big part of the decision-making process, like I'm down in Washington, D.C., and you look around how many courses there are in the D.C. area, and not just barbershop, but choral groups that have large memberships. And but within the barbershop community, we've got Alexandria on one end, and we've got Parkside on the other. I know guys that drive from down here all the way up to Parkside because that's the kind of a course they want to be in. So I think number one, you have to decide what kind of course you are going to be, so that you understand who you're going to be marketing to.
Yeah, I almost felt, Michael, like you should have been asking that question of yourself or of your leadership team. It's not for me to answer that. So I can tell you my experience with Somerset Hills is we were heading a certain direction before the pandemic, looking for a certain level of ability for someone coming in. The pandemic happened, and we said we just want people to sing. We think that there is a need, an innate need in our hearts and for our well-being to sing. So we have been open to say, hey, listen, just come and sing. We don't care. There's no membership, there's no cost, there's no, like, all the barriers that you all just talked about, we took them all down through the pandemic. And we said, we just want people to come out and enjoy a few moments of normalcy if we can provide it. And it's worked out quite well.
Can I just say it's actually worked out probably better than ever, because we've gotten outstanding people. We've gotten educators that just want to come and relax after they've taught all day, and people that, I guess, Christian, correct me if I'm wrong, but incredible singers that we don't know if we would have gotten any other time.
Yeah, hands down. I mean, so we could talk about during the pandemic, because we are doing the drive-in, we have seized upon that advantage. So when we talk about competition, we became the competition. So we are absolutely joyfully stealing singers from all of those, not barbershop choruses, but other choruses, because we're singing and they're not. And we know it. So that has been our marketing approach. How would you like to sing right now safely? Yes, sign me up. Oh, and it's free. And oh, you just come whenever you want. And oh, we're not going to sit there and grade your sing. Like, so we go through all of these things, and people are like, yeah, that's cool. Sign me up. Where do I park? It's been working quite well for us. So I'm going to go through this slide, and then we're going to take a break. A lot of this is what we just started digging into, is what are you marketing? Is it a short-term thing, like an event, recruiting? Is it something else? So one of the things that we've done is we've marketed to try to get donations of equipment to do drive-ins. I did a marketing push, and I got a whole bunch of junk. Rob, I'm just saying that before Rob does. We got a bunch of stuff for free that people just donated. Some of it turned out to be helpful. Some of it we're not using, but hey, it worked. That was a kind of a unique marketing thing, but I used the same approach that we're talking about to say, hey, you probably have stuff laying around. Did you know that during a pandemic, it's like a St. Jude's commercial, you could help someone sing by just giving us your old dusty stuff. Long term, looking at, is your objective to build brand awareness, to really get started on that? That's where our group is. Recruiting and retention. When we talk about marketing and brand and culture, that's not just for recruiting. That's absolutely for retention. Absolutely. to say, here's who we are, here's what we're about, we're true to it. The availability for performances. Not right now, probably. I mean, maybe some of you are doing Singing Valentines, but hopefully sometime when the year 2021, we'll be out there available to do performances again. For each of these things that you're looking to market, who is your audience? We touched upon that. Think about that. We generally, as volunteer organizations with eensy-beensy tiny budgets, we can't do a Coca-Cola type of campaign and take out a Super Bowl commercial. So we've got to pick our shots. We've got to find the places, and I'll tell you some of the techniques that I've used that have worked pretty well for us, knowing that I've got an hour of free time to do marketing this week. How am I gonna make that pay off? So I'll share that with you. Where is your audience looking? So if we are trying to find singers, if we are trying to find people who are just looking for another thing to go do, whatever that audience is, where are they looking right now? Because you need to get in front of their eyes. So if it's social media, cool. You want to get youth? You want to get younger members? Let me give you a hint. It ain't on Facebook. It's not on Facebook. You're going to have to get other places and be creative to get other ways. If it is people who are retired, Facebook's probably going to be a good spot to go. Or maybe the Twitter. I don't know, is Twitter still a thing? Like, is that like in the last week just like gone away? I don't know. Not to get political.
It lost its biggest user.
Yeah. And well, I'm going to leave it there. It's so easy to take the bait. But also, when are they looking? There is an art to when you put this stuff out there, especially when we talk about digital marketing. If you get out there and you're lost in the sea of lots of other things that are coming up, then we're going to have an issue. So let's take a 10-minute stretch break if everybody's okay with it. Steve's like, no, good. I just stretched. Let's go. So I'm going to suspend things for 10 minutes. We will see you at 4:35. Somebody check on the score of the Ravens win.
Be sure to stop by your kitchen for donuts and coffee that you supplied. I don't have any supplies for y'all.
It was funny. People almost revolted in Dixie yesterday because apparently for their lunch they bring in it's like a Chick-fil-A buffet. And they lost that in the pandemic, and people are like, where's my Chick-fil-A? Kevin, are you a football fan? Because I know you're in the Ravens territory. You're a native.
They won.
Sports ball is not really my thing.
Okay.
Ravens won.
All right. So all those people that I was just teaching in Dixie yesterday are probably running around going, oh, well, I got to find something else to do now.
Well, I'm sure Vince is happy, though.
Cool. Tracy, how's the beach? Have you been to the...
It was actually nice out today when I went out. I was going to go walk on the beach.
What's the temperature down there? Is it about 50 or so, or 45?
No, it was like in the 40s.
Yeah, but that can be nice. Very nice, brisk walk.
Yesterday was freezing. To even take the dog out was bitter.
You ever walk on the beach in your bare feet in this cold, or no?
No, not right now.
Okay.
But
It's really weird.
I was going to say, it probably feels like cold, like cut glass.
Yeah, it's very weird.
especially
You don't have to worry about burning your feet, but it feels like burning feet.
Yeah, there was a whale that washed up here, and I wanted to go see if we could still see any of it, but it's probably going to smell pretty bad. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's still there?
There's parts of it still there. I saw the birds when I drove over the bridge, but
that's like 2 months?
yeah, something like that.
Oh.
It's like a Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's Day feast for someone.
Well, there's because it's in the bay. It's not out. It's not like out on the ocean. It's actually in the bay.
Bar.
And Trish, didn't you say like people said like sharks were coming in to
Sharks
feast
were coming
on
in the bay. Yeah.
Cool.
Man.
All right, I'm going to be muted for a bit.
Hey, Chris, will you be able to? Sorry, will you be able to send your slides out to us when the thing's over?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. There's not much to it because I was looking forward to more conversation than me just reading from PowerPoint, because that's painful. I have enough of that in my life.
Christian, who do you have from Westchester who's coming to your rehearsals out of interest? Is it Tom?
No, not from the chorus, from the county.
Do you know who?
We have Jill Staffen, who is the sister of our chapter president.
Mm-hmm.
Jill and her husband is her driver and brings her down.
Mm-hmm.
So we adjusted because of her. We adjusted the drive-in schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we use a Saturday. Well, she inspired us with this idea. So what we typically will do is we will have 3 slots for rehearsals on a Saturday. So we have Hunterdon, we have Somerset Hills, and then we have a guest group. One of those is Sing Aphasia, which does singing therapy, which is really awesome. And then we have another slot potentially open on the other Saturday. So with slot 1 and so the early slot and late slot, we actually alternate between the 2 choruses, because some people have early morning commitments that would make them miss it if it was always at the same time. Some have afternoon commitments as well.
That's awesome. It's great what you've been doing.
It's fun.
Now, are you and Tracy related, or you just have the same name?
Are we still? We are. Still
I don't know.
We've been married for 27 years this week.
I didn't want to just assume. I didn't realize. Oh, congratulations.
We have matching.
Well, I assume it's congratulations. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually sent anniversary flowers to the shore because she was on our anniversary. She went from here down to there, so I did.
Our son lives down here, so I had to go bring him some things.
So that buys me a little bit of time.
Got it.
Last year it was at midwinter. Like, hey, happy anniversary! Why don't we go to Jacksonville?
Now, is anyone who's going to are we going to talk about midwinter at all?
You can right now.
There's a marketing opportunity.
My
no. Chorus has got its own room.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, Tony Scardillo. I don't know if you know Tony. But he's figured out a way for us to have our own room. And Bob Sidelli, our video guy, has put together some amazing content.
Really?
That we're going to have running. And so yeah, it's going to be cool.
Was there a fee for that, or they just gave you the room?
No, I think that as long as you've paid the money to attend, they'll basically give you what you want, because it's in their. I think it's in their interest for people to develop cool content, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see how it works. I think it's a great opportunity. Who knows, right?
Does that change the licensing concerns? Like, I mean, do you still have to obtain like a sync license and?
It's really cool. You know, I've learned, again, necessity is the mother of invention. I have learned so much about sync licensing in the last 2 months, more than I ever felt that I needed to know. But BHS is willing to host a lot of our content, and because of that, we don't need to worry about sync licenses because they've already handled it on the back end.
Yeah, that's how we had our holiday show.
Yep.
100, and we put our show up with the
Yep.
VHS.
Us too.
For that reason, because
Yep.
you're actually using the YouTube license. YouTube covers that.
That's right. That's
Wait,
cool.
I thought YouTube only covers the BMI, SESCAP, ASCAP fees.
No, it's all covered.
Is sync licensing as well?
Oh yeah, you see, Christian's spot on. We had our virtual show coming up. We had all these 12 songs, and then we suddenly had an uh-oh moment when we realized we had to go and buy sync licenses from all these music publishers all over the country, and we thought it was going to cost us a couple of $1,000s. We were throwing ourselves at their mercy to say, hey, we're just a rinky-dink little chorus. But it turns out that BHS has this deal whereby they already have made the arrangements with all the publishers on the back end with YouTube, which includes sync licenses. Very specifically does include sync licenses. So they hosted the content for us.
So what it is, Kevin, is because they have over 1,000 subscribers, and because they are willing to not monetize the videos, all of the royalties that would normally have gone to them as the channel host go to the copyright owners.
Okay. I mean, is there a list is there like a subset, or is it basically any music that you buy from the VHS?
We put on stuff that we didn't even buy from the VHS.
No, we did White Christmas. We were going to do White Christmas, which is the estate of Irving Berlin. You explained it much better than I could, Christian. That's exact. Are you a lawyer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's good.
So if I contacted Janice Bain and do you think it would be possible for us to for us to maybe do this sort of thing like for our annual show, because we're planning like a Disney show.
Oh,
And
yeah,
there is
perfect.
no freaking way we're ever going to get a sync license from Disney.
You know what, Kevin? Is it Kevin? Is that how I say your name?
Yeah, Kevin.
Kevin, you should shoot an email to Janice by all means, but Holly Keller.
Harley Kellen? Who's that?
Holly Keller.
Holly Keller is the chief marketing officer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what I did.
Is that on the
BHS
website?
I'll find her email for you if you
Thank
want.
you.
So Kevin,
I'll put it in the
here's
chat.
a suggestion. You can do this for fun. If you have your own YouTube account, create a video of learning tracks. So just put up whatever visual you want and put up all the learning tracks so they play in sequence and post it to your YouTube channel and see what happens. Most likely it will say, warning, there's a copyright claim.
Yeah.
You can't monetize this. I don't care. I'm cool with that. That's fine. I don't care about your YouTube money. That's typically what I'll come across. What I have found is, because I've been posting all of our rehearsals, or all of our rehearsal recordings, I've been posting up on a YouTube channel for people to watch later if they want to. If I show, so for example, we show Pentatonics at the Grammys, I think it was one of them. I had to strip that out because it was their performance and Dick Clark Productions would not allow it. So I had to actually pull that one down. Everything else I was allowed to still have up and running. So this is everything we've ever sung in the last year is posted up there, and I haven't had an issue.
You know, the society really needs to make a big deal about this because it's a game changer. For example, for our Singing Valentines, we've decided we're going to make all these videograms and we're going to use Happy Together, the song by the Turtles.
Yep.
And because BHS is going to host it, we're not going to have to pay any money for the sync licenses for the chorus to record that and send out a videogram.
And to take it up one more notch, and we did the same thing I think you guys did, Westchester, is the BHS will create a fundraising page for you, whether you want to use it for just the show overall. So for Hunterdon, it's just there. We can use it anytime we want. I think the BHS takes 15% of a cut for whatever people donate. So for our holiday show, it was free money for us. So we actually put it into the video. We put it into the description. So we didn't get as much, not like Simon, we didn't get as much as we normally would in our annual show. That would be impressive. But for us, it was easy money, free money. So between the hosting of the show itself and then also the hosting of the fundraising page, we're delighted. I mean, they made it so easy for us. And I believe the intention is, yes, they can continue to do it. It's so easy for them to do this for you, and you set it up with a premiere, so it times with when your show is going to be.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
It's nice.
So I would just need to contact this Holly Keller in order to start making arrangements if I wanted to do that for our annual show.
Yeah, well, you should reach out to her and say that you're familiar that other chapters have done something similar, and ask her to explain it.
Okay, so I just so I'm clear, so it's because the BHS has a large number of subscribers that they were able to make this deal to cover the sync licenses as well as the BMI ASCAP fees and stuff with that.
I don't think exactly that way. I think the sync license, if you're posting your content on YouTube, now YouTube's breadth of licenses have you covered. Now it's a matter of who gets the revenue based on your video. So if you are Newfangled 4 and you do White Christmas and it's really funny and it goes viral and gets 1.3 million hits, guess who's getting the money? Not Newfangled 4. That money is going to go to the estate of Irving Berlin.
Oh.
But they're not going to be precluded from putting it up. Most likely. There could be some exceptions. Some things could be off limits. So like,
is there a list of what's off limits?
Well, like you still need the permission to arrange. It still needs to be legal music that you are recording, and putting up there. So, for example, if you do your own Disney medley and you don't get that cleared, chances are you're going to have an issue.
Oh yeah, well, all of our music we basically bought from the BHS, so I wouldn't expect that should be a problem.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine.
Great,
So,
thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
hey, now this whole thing was worth it, just right
Yeah.
there. And that is marketing related because what we did
Totally related.
And
yeah.
So I'll show you from a marketing perspective. This made it so easy for me because they hosted it. They hosted the YouTube video. They put it up as a premiere, and they just sent me the link. So for Facebook and things like that, I just had to put a blurb with it and put it out. So I was like, thank you. They did the graphics and things like that for us as well, which was cool. All right, let's go back into now. Let's get into it. Let's actually start getting into the actual, the tools of the trade that we're looking to use. So the mediums, we have old school and new school. We had some allusions to posters, flyers. They're still cool. So what outside of flyers and posters, what are some of them, when we did the marketing class 5 years ago, 10 years ago, what kinds of things did we talk about? Go out and do this marketing thing.
Newspapers.
Newspapers.
What are those?
Yeah, when's the last time any of you actually dropped like $1.25 at a newsstand for paper? Some still do. It's still out there. It's still
God, I don't know, like 20 years ago.
I get the Philly Inquirer online down here, and I get the Palm Beach Post online. So it's online though. So
yes, yeah. So what's old is now new. So they're still publishing content, but now it's all pushed online. Which
right.
But if I may, in that I work in my business with the news media, if we think in terms of the Palm Beach Coast or the main areas, I agree with you. But in the, throughout in the boondocks, in the rural areas, newspapers are the source of local journalism, and a barbershop group out in the middle of Iowa or a barbershop group in the middle of Florida is still. People still pick up newspapers to see what's happening in their local community. So I don't think we can't just wipe it away. It may be good. You may be able to wipe this away.
Not at all.
So
if many of you have heard about the Ready Set Sing.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, the Ready Set Sing free singing lessons program that a lot of chapters have had success. I know for us, some of our greatest success came from the traditional press. So we had an article done up, we wrote it up as a press release, had a nice little picture put to it and put it out because it's in the old school, physical paper, but then it's also on their website, the news media's website, and it's on their social media. So for us, for example, it gets pushed to nj.com. nj.com comes through my Central Jersey's page on Facebook. So we did that act of we wrote the article, submitted it, and Lord knows editors don't have time to actually review anything, so make sure it's a good article because it's going to go straight in. But they were like, yay, free content. Thank you for being our field reporter. And they take it and publish it, and then boom, it goes. So if you're lazy and don't feel like publishing it at 400 different places, that's kind of a nice way to approach it. So I agree, the old journalism is still alive and well. What else did we used to do? Who did a mailing? Did anybody do a mailing?
Mailings work. I just got in the mail yesterday a flyer from. Do you guys know the Silk City Chorus? They're in Manchester, Connecticut.
Manchester.
They put on an awesome show. They mailed me a flyer. It was amazing, and that stuff works.
So you could turn it on its head. Tracy and I have been talking the last week or so. We're like, we're not getting anything in the mail. So now that the holiday cards are like, it's just like we get the.
That's interesting. And also, you get cheap mailing rates.
So if you send something out actually like handwritten, like if you had someone's personal contact and reach out to them and sent them a handwritten letter, what kind of impression is that going to leave on somebody? Like, oh my God, even if it's just a signature on, like a wet signature on a card. So I think you could turn that into something that is now really meaningful. Of, hey, I got something in the mail I feel like actually looking at.
Do you guys use I think business cards is still very, very effective. This is such a personal game. When one thing we did last year for our chapter was we printed out like 5,000 business cards and gave each guy 50 or 100 of them, and basically said your job in the next month is just to hand these out wherever you go.
Right.
If you go to the dentist, leave some behind. You don't even have to. For guys that don't really like to make a personal connection, but just want to say I was here, people just look at that stuff. It's so cool. It's cheap and easy.
So all of these things, so the flyers, we've done postcards, postcard size handouts, pamphlets, all of these kind of old school things. Right now during a pandemic, as you had mentioned, not a huge opportunity for a lot of those ones where you actually hand out or post them somewhere. Absolutely, I think still viable. They're a bit of work. They cost money, but now through websites and printing websites and Minuteman Press and things like that, you can get it done a lot cheaper than you used to. I mean, business cards now. What's the website?
Vistaprint.
Yes, thank you. Vistaprint, client of mine. I should remember that. Vistaprint. If you just set up a new account, like every time you order them, it's like $5 for business cards, and they're pretty decent. So yeah, these are still. I think they're still viable. It's a big question of how much time do you have to invest in putting all of these things together. And I think from a branding perspective, if you have visuals that you use, using them consistently in both the old school and the new school is a good thing. Let's switch over to new school, because I think that's where a lot of your interest lies. Is social media is a big thing. It's a big deal. For me, the success has been Facebook still to this day. Hands down, crazy success. And a lot of it is, and I have here dollars or no dollars, I haven't paid a penny. When we have tried for targeted marketing and we've paid, I think we did like $50 the one time, I didn't get better results because I had a boosted ad versus me just taking a minute to put some effort into what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to show you some examples and the reach that it had for no financial investment whatsoever. Just took a little bit of time to do that. Facebook is two-way. And I think a lot of people have this mistaken thought of, we have our chapter Facebook page, our chorus Facebook page, our quartet Facebook page, and it's vibrant. We have lots of stuff. Really, how many people do you have that like your page? Oh, 71. So that means at most, unless you get some really good shares, you're going to have potentially 71 people that see that. So this is push versus pull. Are people coming to see you, or are you getting your content out? Remember what I said earlier about getting in front of people's faces.
Hey, Christian, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
About Facebook advertising? That's something near and dear to our heart right now.
Yep.
So, you've never paid any money for a Facebook ad?
Nope.
Anyone else done
Well,
anything
not
like
that
that?
I have never.
Yeah.
I tried it, and I didn't get any bang for the buck.
Well, you were. I've heard that there is, especially with Singing Valentine's coming up. I've heard that there are several chapters, maybe not in this district, who pay money for Facebook ads for Singing Valentine's.
Last year, I paid $50 for an ad. I think we got a handful of clicks for it. Whether or not you'd really consider that worthwhile, I mean, for the price of just one Valentine, we managed to get, I think it was like 5 clicks. So, I'm not necessarily sure it wasn't worth it. But in terms of awareness, I mean, $50 is really not that big of a cost. So
right, we paid $20 to advertise our holiday show and got 3,000 impressions.
Oh yeah, we got a ton of impressions.
Simon, you got
clicks that are more important though.
Give me 30 seconds. I paid $0. Let's see how many clicks I got.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's battle. Let's throw down.
Yes, love it.
Battle of the barbershops.
But this is what the new game is, guys. This is it.
This is where it's at. So 100 him. We similarly had our show hosted by the BHS. So this first thing I'm going to show you is the pull. So this is putting it up on our website and not doing anything with it. So we just put it up on our website. We had some shares from our members. We had some shares from people that have liked us. So what are the statistics we had? We reached 80 people. So this is doing nothing. We just posted it to our chapter Facebook page. We reached 80 people. We had 13 engagements. An engagement means someone clicked on it, someone might have gone and clicked on the actual link for the show, etc. What I then do, so I post it to our page, then I push it all over the Dickens, because it is a Christmas show, that's apropos. What I do is I have in advance, either as the chapter page or myself personally, become a member of groups, community groups, local groups, things to do in New Jersey, musicians in New Jersey, things for kids in New Jersey, 100 I'm bored off my ass during a pandemic page, whatever the group is. I get into dozens and dozens and dozens of groups. I infiltrate their group. Why is that important? If you are part of these groups, if you have your notifications on, which most people do because they don't know how to turn them off, that means anytime someone posts to that, you guys are laughing like this is real. Every time someone posts something, that post goes into their feed and is going to get in front of their eyes. So what I will do is I take this and I post it, and then the next step is I share it to a group. And all I have to do is click this group, 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 and what happens? Within an hour or so, what do we have? We had 80 and 13. Now I've got 7,972 impressions and 252 engagements. Took me 5 minutes and cost me $0. Nothing. So this got me, so if we click on it, so I can boost it. I'm not going to boost it. And let's see what we got. And I'll show you what we did with Somerset Hills as well. So of those 7,972, I got 112 likes, comments, and shares. I got 140 clicks. 20 clicked the link. So 20 actually went to the show link on YouTube as well. 8,304 organic impressions, 0 paid. So proof is in the pudding on that one. Let me just show you what we've done. Somerset Hills, a large part of our growth has both been word of mouth from people who are having a good time and telling others to come join us. The other has just been Facebook. So you can look at our visual there. So let's just a quick check on the branding. You know, when you see this is our holiday show. Kid friendly. It's like a cartoon. Looks kid friendly. Looks kind of fun. All kinds of quotes and stuff in there. We got some emojis. 'Twas the Zoom before Christmas, virtually an original musical comedy. So there is a lot going on. So if I was going to criticize my own thing, I'd say there's too much stuff visually to check out, but it worked. We did get a lot of clicks on there. Let me switch over to Somerset Hills. So Somerset Hills did not have a holiday show like that per se, but let's look at the open sing that we put together. I mentioned that we did 7 sequential ads. The one thing I want you to write down is Canva. If there's one thing that I want you to remember, it's Canva. Rusty has heard me preach about this darn thing. Canva.com is a free graphics, graphic editing, graphic design website. And I actually do pay so that way I can get all of their designs and artwork and things like that. And it's just been incredible. So all of these things that I will show you were created on Canva.
I just give a little, if you're going to join extra groups for Facebook, do it ahead of time, because sometimes the admins take a while to get back to you. You're going to join all those extra groups before you're going to publicize to them.
So by the way, all this scrolling that I'm going through was our December. All of those posts was December. So let's see here. So some stuff that I publish, I'm not looking to get great giant reach. Other stuff I'm looking to really push out there. So where's the open sing? Okay, so there's So let's just bring this one up. So you're going through your feed and you see that. Check that out. Guess how much that ad cost me to publish and create? Nothing. This is coming up in your Facebook feed. How cute is that? Got a little Santa putting his presents down. So this is where we're advertising our OpenSing session.
Can I just throw in this? This is why video is so important on Facebook, because people just scroll by the fixed text, and the minute you see something moving on Facebook, it just captures people's attention. And we found as well, we just put these teaser videos together for our show, and you can look at the insights on Facebook. I'm sure you know, Christian. You can just see how well each post performs. And the video just got 10 times more traffic, 10 times more impressions. It was incredible.
So what I was able to do with that, wholeheartedly agree. I could cram some other crap in the visuals because people are going to see that video, see that movement. What I need them to do is stop in their feed. When I'm looking at Facebook, I know it's going to be in their feed. I need them to stop and look. So whether it's the words that I'm using, the fonts that I'm using, the colors that I'm using, the graphics that I'm using, I need to have something in there to say stop and read this. And then let my branding and messaging pull them from Facebook to click, to then go to wherever I want. All of these things will then take them to our website, where then we have all of the branding is flowing through on that website. Like that comes through your feed, you're probably going to stop. One of our favorites, Tracy and I's favorites.
Is that an animated GIF or is it a MP4? Or
it's an MP4. So I actually shared that as a movie, that as a video file directly from Canva. So I have my Facebook account linked to my Canva. So I'm in Canva, I create that, and I'll show you the website, and I just say publish to Facebook, and it takes it right up. Where's the Zoom one, Trace? So, I mean, come on, tell me that's not fun. Singing in your car be like, we've got all kinds of pictures of people singing in their car. So let's see if I can bring that one up. So again, I'm trying to get people to stop in their feed. So I'm hoping that they would see those visuals and stop. Let's see. I mean, look at that little girl. Like, you're going to feel guilty if you just scrolled right past this adorable little girl singing, right? And she's looking up at the words. So let's talk about messaging. Who is my target for this? This is in December 2020, in the midst of a pandemic. We know you miss singing. And this little girl is singing in its Christmas colors, and I'm going for singers who have not been singing for the last 7, 8, 9 months. Raise your voice in a welcoming a cappella chorus while singing holiday tunes safely from the comfort of your car, all ages, all experience levels. Those too young to drive may need a ride. That we've got there. And then, there's my free, let's go back to the feed. Come on, computer. Where is... I mean, you can see these numbers. Look at that. So there we go, Simon. 11,525 people.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can see as well that you're getting a lot of shares, like 30, pretty consistently 30, 40, 50 shares, which is very powerful, right? It's like exponential when you get that kind of...
Yeah, so this one, this is Trace and this is absolutely one of our favorites. Zoom stinks. Tired of singing alone? Raise your voice in a welcoming a cappella chorus while singing holiday tunes safely from the comfort of your car. So just a simple statement. Here's what we're offering you. Hopefully you read that, you chuckle a little bit. That's our personality. That's who we are. We're just this fun kind of group. But the insights we got from that one, so again, I went into groups, I infiltrated, I got this posted up to their group. Sometimes it gets rejected. So for example, the Flemington groups, because this is over in Bridgewater, which is a half an hour away, a couple of the groups in Flemington rejected it and said, this has nothing to do with Flemington. I'm like, well, aren't you the Grinch? But we had, so from this one, I had 12,847 impressions, 5 people RSVP'd based on that post that I had up there. So this stuff works. Oh, apparently so we can actually go by audience. The nice thing about Facebook is they give you all kinds of analytics. So if you will have the time to sit there and look through these things. So that one reached 66% women, 34% men. We have age demographics there. So really we're hitting pretty well with the 35 to 44 and the 45 to 54 and all that. So for me, Facebook is the bomb. I'm a huge fan. We've had a lot of success from people seeing this. Sometimes it's been multiple things. People have heard about it, our events, from someone and then saw it online and the like. So let me open up to questions, thoughts, concerns. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go to Canva.
While you were talking, I just joined about 5 groups in Westchester on Facebook and subscribed to them. That's such a genius idea.
It's so
Thanks.
easy.
Yeah, that was the highest value comment for me of this entire presentation, Christian. Thank you.
So this is Canva. So I've used this so much. So actually I've also learned now how to do video production. So Rusty will attest that we did a lot of work trying to put the holiday show together. Simon, similar to what you guys did, of putting together a holiday show of all kinds of videos and pieces and things like that. I actually used Canva for a lot of the background, a lot of the stills that I put into the video. We used Camtasia for our video production. There's also so many other great tools, Adobe Pro, Premiere Pro, and things like that. So you'll see all these things. I just used Canva. It is so stupidly easy to use.
Christian, I have a question for you. Canva, when you go in there and use the backgrounds and whatnot, are they all available and royalty free? Free for use and distribution and all that?
There's enough free stuff to absolutely get the job done. What I found, so I do pay, I think it's $12 a month or whatever the subscription is, because I'm doing this a lot for Hunterdon. I'm doing it a lot for Somerset Hills, and then some miscellaneous things here and there. So for me, it's worth it, because I just don't want to have to sit there and go, oh, do I want to spend $1.99 for that? I just want stuff. So those videos, for example, I think were not for free. I think those were only for the high level membership. But this thing, it's just I made this little photo composite that I use, or that's for Hunterdon that we have there. So there's so much good stuff. Canva is the way to go. I came to Canva because I was getting frustrated. I was trying to use Adobe. It was impossible for me to use. It was too complicated, had more functionality than I could ever possibly need. So I noticed that collegiate a cappella groups would put up amazing flyers all the time for all these little gigs that they had. They had these really great flyers. So I went on one of their Facebook groups. I'm like, what are you people using to put these things together? Is there some super brain that's producing all of these? Almost exclusively it was Canva. All of these college kids were like, Canva. Oh, it's free, it's great. I'm like, all right, let me use it. It's so user friendly, so I strongly recommend you use it. So the Westchester Chordsman background that he has there, I could create that in Canva. I'm not going to, because it's probably trademarked.
Canva's awesome.
So he's a fan. You can create virtual backgrounds. You can create Facebook posts. You can create banners for your website. Any size document you want. Flyers, business cards, you name it. You can do it all in Canva. You save it as a JPEG file or a vector file, whatever kind of file your source is going to need. Download it, send it out for free. So it has been such a incredible tool for me. Simon, you're a Canva believer?
We are, yeah. Eric Concius is the genius using Canva in our chorus. Also, there's someone in the society at HQ who's really good at this. I forget her name. Does anyone know? Is it Milan? She gives an awesome
Journey.
Yeah,
Journey Milan.
Yeah, that's it. She gave a great presentation at Harmony U. If ever you guys want to take a look at any of those classes about how to use Canva specifically, and gave some great tips, good pro tips for that.
Yeah. So, and you just play around with it. You can just make different versions of things. So you can see, like, here's all the daily ones that I did leading up to the event. So I made the first one, and then I would just like change colors and put in different text. So I kept that same framework. So from a branding perspective, each time it popped up in someone's feed, it was the same kind of visual. So they're like, wait, I think I saw something like that before on a continued impression. Not a bad deal. So you'll see, like, I've got tons of stuff. Our Hot Rods in Harmony webinars and stuff that we did, I created a logo. I was bored. So Tracy was like, we need little hot rods. Like, okay. I found some hot rods and I changed the colors, which was a lot of fun. Anywho, so that's any questions on Canva? All right, how about memes? Has anybody, Simon, I don't know, maybe, if anybody has been this nuts, it's probably you guys. Has anybody tried to use a meme? Does anybody know what a meme is? Kevin, do you know what a meme is?
My teenage daughter explained it to me one time.
Of course I know what it is. I look at plenty of memes. I'm just not very, I can't imagine I'm not so being all that good at making them.
I don't think what we do is very meme worthy. Do you have good memes or?
I do have good memes.
I can see that. Yeah, that's.
So let me see if I can find. So, here's one. So what I did was, so Marcus, who is our sound tech, he's 15 now. He was probably 13 when I did this meme. Dad, you're using the wrong fonts. Like, he was very opinionated on my memeisms and how well I did. Let me do full screen here. So we had open sing nights. So our kind of like a guest night, we had these series of open sings, as we like to call it. So singing in the shower, little brain. Singing along at church, kind of firing a little bit. Singing at karaoke night. Singing a cappella on open sing night. So that is a membership marketing recruiting meme. You have seen this now probably for the first, and certainly not going to be for the last time.
Hey, can I ask another question? This, by the way, this is all super useful content. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who do you think, I saw this posted on Facebook the other day, but who's leading the charge in the society? Obviously Somerset Hills aside, in terms of digital marketing and social media? Who do you think is doing a really great job?
I've seen some, definitely on the Sweet Adeline side. Check out Lionsgate.
Yeah.
Lionsgate does a great job. There's a few others on that side. To be quite frank, it's been awfully quiet the last 9 months. So there have been some that have been very good. I will say the Alexandria Northwest Sound connection pushing out their holiday show was pretty decent. Wasn't too bad. I think it's a matter of there just has not been a lot of things to post about. Somerset Hills, and my dearest apologies, but not really, for probably flooding a lot of your Mid-Atlantic feeds and things like that with Somerset Hills stuff. We've had a lot of cool stuff to talk about. So as long as we have activity, we're going to be pushing content out to keep that brand alive and keep it going. And that's kind of another thing I'd like you to consider as we leave from today is your chorus is not dead. It might be kind of quiet right now, but even if you're taking other content and forwarding and sharing it, you know, the joys of singing, or look at this, what this group has done during pandemic, you can grab onto that and get that out and put this out there. Singing Valentine's, for those that are going to be doing it, of course, is a great opportunity to do that. So I don't really have, and you would think the powerhouses, the Westminster's pretty good.
My sense is, though, that what we think of as powerhouse choruses really are not that great when it comes to the social media. Like, I don't think Vocal Majority, what they do is particularly special. By the way, they are big. They used a lot of Facebook advertising, I noticed. Yeah. And, Westminster ambassadors, it doesn't, I don't know. That's why I'm trying to find out who really is doing an awesome job,
Yeah, I haven't seen much. I haven't seen much. I mean, Vocal Majority, I do know, I think they raised over $30,000 in connection with their virtual show.
That's good. I got to tell you, but given their scale and their reach, it's good. Obviously, yeah. It's good. Yeah.
That's more than we did. Definitely more than we did. So let's
is
see
anyone,
what else.
I had a question. Is anyone doing Singing Valentine's, or anyone plans on how are you guys thinking about marketing it? Any secret sauce you want to share?
Well, I wrote the copy for it today, but
Uh-huh.
they're using I think Facebook and our website. We use Groupanizer
Oh,
for our internal stuff, and they give you for a nominal fee you can do an external website. So we're using that. I haven't talked to the guys about what kind of push we're using to get it. We usually do live Valentine's. Can't do that this year. So for
yeah.
$25, we'll do a custom Valentine for you, and I'm doing the voiceover background since that's what I do.
You sound like you have the voice for it, Wes.
Well, thank ex-disc jockey, many before you were born, many years ago, when they used to, have the big, his master's voice stuff, But no, we're doing that, and we're still working the kinks out. We did the recordings of it and the videos the other day, and one of our guys is assembling it, putting it together for us. So we'll see how it works. This is virgin territory.
It is, isn't it?
We're discussing it about tomorrow night at the Country Gentleman. We have some stuff I think we're going to be putting on Facebook, but this meeting has been great in terms of some ideas. Once I get past the fact that I'm totally overwhelmed, I'll put this stuff down on paper, and I have a lot to talk about tomorrow night. We were talking about Facebook, but we were struggling with what way to get it out there.
And feel free to steal. So if you see, and hopefully amongst all of us, we're okay with that. But if you see ideas in other things as inspiration, so if you're not a creative type, I've found that I'm more creative than I thought I was in doing visuals. But if you're not that creative, find something, see a Whitman's chocolates ad that inspires you. Like, oh, I can do like a chocolate box and put music notes on stuff like that. So start small and learn from it. So maybe it's just a matter of just creating some visuals and getting it on your Facebook page, and going from there and getting it out into a couple of groups and see where it goes. So what I like is you're inspired to do something, which for a lot of groups that's more than what they're doing. We're also similarly looking at doing virtual Valentines with Hunterdon, and we have a quartet that's going to record it. We'll have a recorded message in front of it to make it personalized, and we are just getting started now. Once I'm done with all of you awesome people, that will be one of my next things to tackle, is to create the marketing plan for that. But I plan on, very similar to what you've seen, pushing that out. Think about your messaging. Because this Singing Valentine year is so different, because you're not going to pop into work. You're not going to stop into the school. You're not going to be going to the doorstep. Your surprise factor has to have a new home. So, for example, if somebody's loved one is on Zoom calls all day and you happen to know their boss, how much fun would it be to have their boss have the link to the video and be able to Zoom bomb them in a work meeting with a Singing Valentine?
Great idea.
Market that. So that gets to what's your audience for this, because it's not traditional. And it could be just a matter of, hey, send a personalized love message that you have a hard time saying yourself. That could be your messaging, whatever it is. So you can do just the basic, hey, we have this thing that we do. Give us $25. Or you can talk about what it's going to mean for them. How are they going to use it? How are they going to position it? Would be big. So let me just share a little bit, just a couple more tidbits. So these are a couple other sites, a couple other resources that I have used with success. So I told you about Canva, canva.com. There is an app. You can use it on desktop. I prefer to use it on the computer, although I have done stuff, Tracy and we have a little fishing boat, and I've been known to, while fish are not really having a lot of fun taking the bait, I'll just sit there and I can do something on my phone. I can create stuff on the phone. Remove.bg. Has anybody used that? The BG stands for background. You can take any picture of a person or probably of a thing. You go to remove.bg. That's all you type into your browser. You upload the picture and it will cut out the background. So if you are doing Singing Valentines and you wanted to cut out, the stuff in the background and just have the quartet, and put that into something else. It's so cool. Free. I mean, granted, they're probably like hacking my computer from Korea, but I'm okay with that because it's really helpful.
If they can make one, they would.
proof.bg.
If they can make one that takes me out and leaves the background, that would be beautiful.
Maybe you might be able to do that. I don't know. You might be familiar with MailChimp. MailChimp is very helpful for managing mailing email lists and pushing things out. So between MailChimp and Eventbrite, I've used those very successfully for show promotion. So I might have an event and I can connect my MailChimp, which has all the people that have subscribed to our page and people that we have bought tickets in the past and things like that. I put them all into a list. And then Eventbrite, I can push it out to all of them in a nicely structured email. So that one takes a little bit of work trying to get to figure out how it's all set up and how it all functions together. But for me, both MailChimp and Eventbrite have been great. Eventbrite, there is a deal with the BHS where you actually get preferential pricing with the cut that they take out of whatever fees you have for shows that you use. I've used Eventbrite very successfully. I do know some of the other services, like for example, if you've used brown paper tickets in the past, there was an issue with them that I heard about secondhand, where because of the pandemic, they didn't have money to refund people their tickets for shows that were canceled. That was a bit of an issue. I haven't had that issue with Eventbrite. So Eventbrite has been very helpful for me. The other thing I use Eventbrite for is RSVPs to free events. So our Open Sings, our Ready Set Sing, anything where I want someone to just give me an RSVP. The drive-in webinar that we did, I used Eventbrite for that, even though it was free. But that way I was able to get someone to RSVP, and I could put all my marketing stuff, messaging to them and that. But I also got their email address, and it's cataloged, and it's there forever. So that's been helpful. Somebody alluded to the BHS resources. If your chapter can't afford to do graphic design, and you're like, Canva, what? They can be hired to help you out. There's even some stuff that's free. So check out the resources. There will be a new member center launching. Well, it's actually live now. But yeah, Rob and I had a lot of fun the last 2 days going, wait, they did what? New member center is live.
Yes, it is.
Whether you like it or not. The old
it's really good. It's really good. It just takes a little getting used to.
I use MailChimp for my business, and the statistics that you get from that, although I believe there's a cost to it. I use it through my IT guy, and he pays a cost for his license. But the statistics and the feedback you get is really pretty quick.
Yeah, and actually the president of Somerset Hills, he just loves data, and he loved using MailChimp for emails to members and prospective members, because he could see who opened it and who didn't.
And how many times they opened it.
And how long were they in it, like who clicked the links, and yeah, the data and analytics are great. So Eventbrite I like a lot. The BHS resources you can rely on. What I was mentioning there was with the new member center, I found it's much easier to get to resources than it was for me before. Searches seem to be a little bit stronger than they were. They're using Salesforce as kind of the backbone for it. So if any of you have used Salesforce before, you will find a lot of this very familiar, chatter groups and things like that. But then there's also the ability to communicate, I'm told, with other people who might have a similar position in other choruses. So you might be able to create a chatter group for marketing VPs and ask, hey, has anybody done this? Or check out this cool thing that we did, and share those successes with each other. So let's go ahead and do that. So here's what I would love to see you do, and I want to open up to just discussion, Q&A, not talking about football or other things like that. Your website is everything. Your website still is everything. This is the view into the soul of your chorus and your chapter, like it or not. So if anything, I would love for you to just take a few minutes, take a look at your website. Just from the thing we did tonight, I saw something I need to update. So for example, does your website currently say that you rehearse every Tuesday night at such and such a church from 6 to 7? I'm guessing you're not rehearsing at a church on every Tuesday night from 6 to 7 right now. So we should probably update the website to be kind of the current state of affairs of where we're at. If you even are so inspired, go page by page. So when you have your branding, you have your messaging that you want to have into that public eye, go page by page. I have found very often there were dead links I didn't even know existed. And what is that, an elbow? Oh, watch us perform at the 4th of July parade. Click. Link does not work. Well, that sucked. Thanks. You know, it's just an elbow. So clean those up and make sure that they're not there. Social media is in. That has been hugely successful for us. It's very vibrant. Use those Facebook groups. For me, for the audiences we're typically trying to reach, has been great. If you want to reach a younger audience, you're going to need help. And I'm saying that, you know, Joel and maybe Kevin, you guys are on the edge. But Reddit, using TikTok, things like that, like, really? Like, yeah, that's where the future is. That's where the young folks are. They're not going to be on Facebook for long. Video and animation, video sells. It's real. It's real. Video is so helpful. So Simon, I can't give you guys compliments enough. And I will say your brand came through very much in the little video ads you did for your show. I saw them. They were funny. It worked. Where I was like, wow, these guys are, they're hams. That's their brand.
That's the brand.
Yeah, they're good. It's very witty, Monty Python-ish kind of humor. Really, really good. Kevin asked the question, is Camtasia cheaper than Premiere? Camtasia can be free, but it will have a watermark on it. Like a very obnoxious one, which I found out like 8 hours before we went to publish it. Publish our movie.
Presumably, if you buy a license, that will allow you to not have a watermark, right?
Yeah, so it was...
How much is a license?
It was $250.
Ooh, still kind of pricey.
One time.
It is.
So for me, Camtasia, Camtasia allows you to do video editing, audio, some limited audio. For me, Camtasia was perfect. Perfect. It was so easy to use. I could upload pretty much any media that I want. It was easy to drop it in and cut it and slice it. Like any of the editing, I've never done video production before. My hope is if you watched our holiday show, the 100 Harmonizers holiday show, 'Twas the Zoom Before Christmas, still available on the BHS YouTube channel. If you watch it, I mean, it's not the best, but it's like, here's somebody who's never done this stuff before. Yes, Joel, we will send out the PowerPoint. So we were happy to pay the amount because we're going to continue to use that. It's a one-time license compared to where everybody seems to be going monthly now on subscriptions. So I kind of appreciated that. The only thing is I'm locked into this version. It's almost like so other software you use where you just buy it, it's not going to be updated, but I think we'll be able to use that for a while. Trying to use Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve. I tried using DaVinci Resolve. I didn't have the time to learn it. I understand. I know, Rob, you're a fan of DaVinci Resolve.
My son is actually. I like Premiere Pro, but I do a lot of other things with it too, so it made sense for me in my studio to have that.
So for me, it had so much, both of them had just so much capability that I was never ever going to use. It was clutter for me. Whereas with Camtasia, I was using everything it had to offer, which was just for me the sweet spot. Was really, really good. Yeah. And that's the last thing I have in the action plan is pushing your people. I need stuff to market. I need stuff to talk about. We need to come up with content. We might need to be more creative than we have ever been before, but we need to come up with stuff to market. So let's open up to, I'm going to stop sharing. So if the only thing you got was Camtasia and using video and Facebook groups, I'm cool with that. I'm okay with that. But this hopefully was helpful for you. Michael, I hope it's not too intimidating for you.
I'll get over it. I'll get over it. The Canva, the stuff I heard tonight, the Canva and the Camtasia, and just the ideas to bring to my group. hey guys, you got to give me material, and let's just go out there. That was, for me, this has been great, really.
Hey, have you done anything, Christian? I think you guys have. I might have seen something. Yeah, I had a couple of thoughts. One is, any thoughts on cross promotions? Have you done anything like that, using other groups to market your activities? And
Yes.
secondly, I think that's a good way to get a bigger audience and a different audience. So I'm curious what you might have done. And anything about getting TV exposure?
Very sensitive topic.
That's hilarious. Okay. Next topic.
Why is that?
All right, so Hot Rods and Harmony.
Sorry,
was-
No, it's okay. You're about to get the story.
Okay. Maybe
So
maybe I don't want to hear the story.
We were very excited with Hot Rods and Harmony. It was such a unique thing that we did, and we kind of knew early on that it would make a good story of basically the arts and humanity versus the pandemic.
Totally.
The arts and humanity won, pandemic 0. It was one of the few wins we've had for us personally. The people that we've been working with that were our inspiration are amazing. Catherine and Bryce Denny up in Massachusetts, up in the Boston area, that we learned about this thing from them. We adopted it for a cappella, and then we have evangelized and make it happen with a lot of other groups. They stumbled upon a barber shopper who is a journalist with the New York Times. So this barber shopper drove up to Massachusetts. Little did they know they could have just come across the Verrazano Narrows Bridge and hung out in New Jersey. He drove up to Boston, wrote an amazing story. But I was very fortunate. Somerset Hills was mentioned in the New York Times. We had a nice little paragraph, so we can claim as seen in the New York Times. So that was cool. We got some attention.
What's the problem?
So there's no problem. It's just ego.
Oh, all news is good news, right?
So we got them in, which was great. Shortly after that, like the following Monday, I get an email from, I forget his name, so at NBCUNI.com. It's a producer for the Sunday Today Show.
Sweet.
Who wants to do a piece on Hot Rods and Harmony. And we're like,
Awesome.
He's like, we want to come out. We're going to bring a crew. We want to spend the whole day. We're like, oh my God, this is like, how awesome is this?
Oh, is this the Willie Geist thing?
Yes. So,
yeah.
So unbeknownst to us, they also made arrangements to go up to Boston. Timing-wise, with where the rehearsals come in the calendar, they couldn't get to us immediately because we actually had a rehearsal that coming Saturday. The following Saturday, the folks up in Boston were doing it, so they went up to Boston. And they did the whole piece there, which was it was an amazing piece. But again, we got a mention. We were able to provide them some pictures and things like that, so we got a mention. So now we can say, as seen on Sunday Today. So you will see that we push that out. So when I'm talking about, like, I want content, I don't care that it was 8 seconds. I'll take it. I had 10 seconds or whatever it was on national TV. So we have made some inroads and outreach to get a little bit more media exposure. Other groups are kicking our ass, and it drives me nuts. It's been in the LA Times with Pete Stevens-Brown, who sat in our seminar up in the Upper Yoopers Barbershop Chorus in Michigan. They just got a write-up in the Los Angeles Times. You'll see that in this week's Live Wire. So the good news is this whole thing has gotten a lot of really good media exposure. Now we're trying to leverage more locally.
Yeah, I was thinking more about, I wasn't necessarily thinking about singing in cars, but I was just thinking about local TV coverage for a small chorus. Like we've had spots on like local channel News 12 for singing Valentine's. We usually do that. We've had local radio. We've had CBS radio show up.
Wow.
You know,
Rob, you've done it. Last
Yeah, exactly. Mike Quartet has actually done that in the Philadelphia market. Exactly. So it's helpful when you have a contact to help you make that, coordination. And one year we did it actually on 2 different TV morning news shows or whatnot. That was a lot of fun, but a lot of work. You one studio, then to the other studio, and you got to be there on time and all that. But it was great. And any exposure, like Christian said, hey, I'll take 8 seconds if I can. Whatever it takes. We actually picked up by doing that on Valentine's Day. We actually then, as a quartet, did jobs in Philadelphia. People called, our phone, and we would drive from place to place. We picked up probably about 6 jobs just by doing that.
Right.
Really
Well,
awesome.
you do have a good product to sell. Because this is where you can parlay that image that we have. We're a novelty. We're interesting. We're different. We sometimes get upset with that, but people do enjoy that. So when there is a time and an opportunity, we can take advantage of that. We've been on local radio, and I've been surprised how many people not in my barbershop circles have been like, "Oh my God, I heard you on the radio." I'm like, "You actually listen to local radio?" Like, "Yeah, I work in a dentist's office. We have that on all day." I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." Not bad. Tracy?
Yeah.
It's actually very hard the week between the Today Show. I actually sat probably for 3 days and called every news place around us. And I did get through to some, trying to, get into before the Today Show, because they were kind of pushing us aside and we weren't going to make it. And they were like, "Oh, this is a great idea." But then they never got back to you. So they would email back. But unless you have a real good contact, that's true. Like Rob said, I don't think you're really going to get in. And plus the presidential election was going on, and now God knows what's going to happen. So it was really tough to actually get in and really talk to somebody. I would get through like the front door with one person, and then it would just die out. But we got like in New Jersey Best Magazine, and we got in a couple other local things.
I think Rob is right. It's really, if you know someone in the industry, it makes a huge difference, because these journalists, they're always looking for an angle. They all want stories.
They are.
The trick is to make it as simple as possible for them to translate our content into an easy story. So I come back to video again, having like a 30-second or a 1-minute video, so helpful for a journalist.
The one fellow who's the contact in this market, his name is Eric, and he's done stuff in the Middle Atlantic District. He does the traffic. He teaches, media and stuff, communications at the local colleges, things like that. And he's got the contacts with, different radio and then TV. So, calls his buddy down the street or whatever. So that was great. His advice to me, and actually he's a pressman as well. Yep. He said, write articles, special interest articles, if you're going to put them in the newspaper, not like an ad, like you pay $200 for a half-page ad. And, that's a lot of money. And you have to have enough money to do that if you're going to do that on an ongoing basis. But he said, just write these special interest articles and keep sending them in. Send them in, and then, be persistent, not naggy, but be persistent, be there, have a story, have another angle, whatnot. They need fill sometimes. They need something they can just, so make it a special interest that doesn't necessarily have a time to it. Like a special interest, hey, listen, here's what we do for Valentine's Day. That's great. But, you might have something else that just talks about how we help the community, which is good anytime. They could just use it as fill. Making that and establishing that relationship with the television or the other contacts, the pressmen, it's like, look, we have an angle here. We have an angle here. Hey, look, we're doing something else. It can't just be a single event, one and done, silver bullet. I tried one thing and it worked that time and it was great. You have to kind of keep being persistent, but not naggy, but persistent, right? Be there, be there, be there, be there.
Oh, yeah.
And be a buddy, make a friend, develop a relationship, right?
That's really helpful. Good advice.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to have to bug out. The oven beeper just went off.
Thanks, Rusty.
That's what that was.
Christian,
Okay, thanks.
great job.
Thanks.
Thanks, Christian. Bye.
Sorry, Christian, I didn't mean to steal your thunder. Bye, Rusty.
No, not at all. That's the point of this. I mean, that's an area we didn't cover, and it's absolutely viable. It's, if you can get it, it's fantastic. What I would add is, if you get any of that, so just like we did, we had just a little blip.
Yeah.
Push it. So I took that and I pushed it. Local chorus on Sunday Today Show. Boop. Push that the heck out of that.
But it sounds like you're a little aggrieved that you didn't get all the credit, that everyone else got the credit. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that reading between the lines? Just a little bit.
Maybe a little. Maybe. No, I mean, it's the Denny's. I mean, honestly, the Denny's have been, they're amazing human beings. They are a blessing. We would not be successful if it weren't for what we heard, and we've been partners with them. It's a matter of, it was on the producer who made it seem like he was coming out and it was going to be this big thing, and then he did a typical media thing. He's like, "Oh yeah, no, we're good. Here's 10 seconds."
Yeah.
So, Simon, I'll be honest though, being the tech guy that sort of helps support Christian in this, I was a little bit let down.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I thought,
are you kidding
man,
me?
that'd be-
I would be totally disappointed. Of course you would.
I wanted to be like, I gave a feed to the news crew. It was great.
But we're not giving up. We're not giving up.
No.
That's
So
great.
that's all I've got. If there's anything else anyone has, Rob, if you want to stop the recording so we can stay true to our 2.5 hours, that would be great.
I'll follow the sun.